Hello, 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 everyone. This is Sharika Matthews, your life coach, relationship expert, and creator of Feminine Success Mastery. Thank you guys so much for joining me here again for another lively conversation about some things that are designed to kind of make you think and see things from a different perspective. So, if you're new to me or new to who I am and what I do, again, my name is Sharika Matthews, and I work with high achieving women to help them achieve success in their lives. But over the last several years of working with women at different levels in their lives and different levels of success, I've realized that for most women, they can have the accolades, they can have the titles, they can have the material things, but all of that doesn't mean much to them if they don't have a successful relationship. So I work with women in a one-on-one coaching relationship and through my master classes to help them answer the question, am I in the right relationship? And if I'm not in the right relationship, how do I create the right relationship for me? So that is what brings me here tonight, because one thing that I'm seeing, and one thing that all of us really want in our relationships, is that we want to be happy and we want to be fulfilled. And for the most part, most of us are happy in general, but a lot of us are not fulfilled in their relationships. So the question came up, can you be happy and unfulfilled in a relationship? What do you guys think? Let me know. Do you guys think that you can be happy and unfulfilled in a relationship? Put a yes if you think you can, or put a no if you think you cannot be happy and unfulfilled in a relationship. I want to know what you guys think before I kind of get into the meat of tonight's conversation. Because, we set out these goals, right? To have relationships and to be in love and to give love and receive love and become the best version of ourselves and create a relationship that's a den of pleasure and laboratory of growth for everyone involved. But what does that really look like? What does that really mean? And so when it comes to having fulfillment in a relationship, I want to first make sure we all understand what it means to be fulfilled. So, of course, I look up the word fulfill, and that means to satisfy a set of requirements and obligations. You want to satisfy a set of requirements and obligations. So what are these requirements? Especially for us women, we have a whole lot of requirements and a whole lot of obligations for men, right? We require that they be our protector, our provider, our best friend, our lover, our inspiration. We want them to be a father figure. You want them to be someone who has our back all the time. We want them to teach us and lead us and guide us and be affectionate to us and cater to us and, compliment us all the time and make us feel good all the time and read our minds and motivate us. And we want them to do all these things for us, right, in our relationships. And when they don't meet these expectations and when they don't meet these obligations, then we're left with this feeling of being unfulfilled because we're expecting one thing and receiving another. So the question is, can you be happy with that? Can you be happy with not getting all of your expectations met? Can you actually move forward and build a relationship that lasts for a long time on that premise? So before I answer that question, I want to define what a fulfilling relationship is and kind of contrast it to. A fulfilling relationship is when both parties contribute to each other's happiness without expectations. I'm going to say that again. A fulfilling relationship is a relationship with both people contribute to each other's happiness without expectations. And based on that definition right there, that is why we're not fulfilled in our relationships. See, we have expectations that we want our partner to meet. Like, I want my man to be strong. I want my man to be my advocate. I want my man to be my protector. I want my man to do X, Y, and Z. And the same thing for men. Men, you want your women to look good and cook. I saw this post the other day. This man had a whole list of requirements. He said, I'll give you a Benz, a big house, and, children and money and all this stuff, but you got to look good. You got to keep the house clean. You have to, what did he say? You have to sex me all the time, and some other requirements that put me in the mind of like the 1930s and 1940s, when women just used to be, like a pet. We used to just be this little pet you put on a pedestal, and it's all for show, but at home you're really my slave. So we all have these different expectations, but a fulfilling relationship is one where there's no expectations. So by the definition of alone, it's almost impossible to be fulfilled in a relationship based on that definition. And what I don't want you to walk away with tonight is that you must lower your expectations. That is not what I'm saying by any shape, form, or fashion. I don't think you need to lower your expectations. I don't think you need to lower your standards. But what I want to do is reframe this notion of what it means to be fulfilled and what it means to be happy, and show you how you can achieve both in your relationship. You've heard me say this before. One of my favorite quotes, or one of my favorite perspectives, it should be both a den of pleasure and a laboratory of growth for both people. And so I really value the growth part of the relationship. And so one day I was just kind of sitting around and contemplating, what does it really mean to say my relationship is a laboratory of growth? What does that look like? That means that I have to help him grow into his best version of himself, and he has to help me to grow into the best version of myself. When I looked at that, I became stressed out. Like, that is a tall order for him to have out of me, and for me to have out of him. It's like, now I became responsible for his growth. I had to now be in this position of teaching him and guiding him, and showing him something new, and making sure that he's growing and growing and growing. But that's exactly what we do in relationships. We have these tall orders of expectations in the name of love, in the name of longevity, in the name of this is what we're supposed to do. But if you want to be happy and you want to be happy in your relationships, you're going to have to let some of that go. And I'm going to show you why. So the first thing you must do in order to be happy and unfulfilled is that you must first be happy with yourself. And this is a no-brainer, right? You have to be happy with yourself and be happy with your life. That means you've taken the time to heal, that you're out there having fun, that you're pursuing your goals, that you have a vision, that you have some idea what your big purpose in life is, that you are growing yourself. You've invested in your personal growth. You've invested in your health. You've invested in your life, and you have the fruit to show for the seeds of the hard work that you've done in your life. And you are in alignment. You're in spiritual alignment with who you were created to be and with what you were created to do. You are happy with yourself, and you're happy with the life that you currently have. Number two, now you want to come into agreement with the person that you want to partner up with. You want to come into agreement with your boyfriend, your husband, or the guy that you're dating, and say, I'm going to agree to contribute to your happiness. And I want you to agree to contribute to my happiness. Now, that conversation doesn't have to happen in those words or just like that, but there has to be an understanding to say, you know what, when you came to me, I was already happy. My life is good. I'm growing. I'm thriving. I am in a good place. And so by you coming into my life, or by me allowing you to come into my life, I need you to make sure that you're adding to my happiness and not taking away from my happiness. And because you are in a good place, and you're working towards your goals, you're healed, you're looking to grow and thrive in life as well, I am going to commit to add to your happiness. And so the state of happiness and increase our happiness. That's the second thing. Come into agreement. We don't often talk about that. We don't often talk about what makes me happy in a relationship. We don't often ask the question, how can I contribute to your happiness? So I want you to do that. Ask your partner, ask your boyfriend, ask your husband, how can I contribute to your happiness? Not how can I make you happy, because you're not responsible for his happiness. Just like I'm not responsible for his growth or to make sure that he is growing the way he needs. So I'm contributing to his growth. I'm contributing to his happiness. I'm contributing to his health. I'm contributing to his wealth. Ask your partner, how can I contribute to your happiness? Number three, this is a good one. You want to accept the fact that nobody can fulfill all of your needs, wants, and desires. I'm going to let that sink in for a second. Nobody, nobody can fulfill all of your wants, needs, and desires. The moment that you try and put that burden, put that pressure on your husband, on your boyfriend, on your partner, is the moment you're trying to make him your God. This is where a lot of the unhappiness comes from. This is where a lot of the unfulfillment comes from. This is where a lot of the conflict comes from, because we are trying to put all this pressure, all this responsibility on one person. We want him to be our protector all the time. We want him to be our provider all the time, pay all the bills all the time. We want him to sex us however, whenever, wherever we want to. We want him to be our spiritual covering all the time and pray for us all the time. We want him to be able to teach us and lead us. We want him to do all these things all the time while catering to us, while loving us, while, forgiving us and having patience with us. We want this sense of perfection. And we want this sense of a one-stop shop in our relationship. But in reality, that one person was not designed, hey, Deborah, that one person was not designed to fulfill all of your needs. However, the one true God can fulfill your needs, and he can do that through him. So that's why we take the focus off of laying down the law, if you will, or having this long list of expectations. When you take the focus off of that and off of him and say to God, God, these are my needs, these are my wants, these are my desires, I pray that you will fulfill these for me in the best way possible. And then allow God to either use him or move you to another relationship or allow fulfilled in different ways. A prime example of this, not relating to romantic relationships, but relating to parental relationships. Some of us have broken relationships with our parents, broken relationships with our mothers, and broken relationships from our fathers. And some of us are, even though we're adults, nothing can fulfill that void that you have from missing a parent, whether that parent has passed away or you just don't have an intimate relationship with them. And so when you say, okay, I am going to take my focus off of the person and ask God to fulfill the parental need of a mother and ask God to fulfill the parental need of a father, God would put people in your life to fulfill that need. God will put into place uncles and aunts and godmothers and godfathers and people who love you with the love of a mother and people who love you with the love of a father so that you could get your needs, your wants, and desires met. That's what I mean. So you have to be open to receive what it is that you need the best way from God. Instead of trying to force it all through one person. So you have to get to this point of accepting the fact that one person cannot fulfill all of your wants, needs, and desires. But when you release it over to God and ask God to fulfill those wants, needs, and desires in the best way possible for you, that's when all of your wants, needs, and desires are going to be met. Okay, so that's number 3. Number 4 is that you must allow your partner to be him. Allow them to be themselves. Yes, you have your expectations. Yes, you have your standards. Yes, you have your desires. But allow them to show up as themselves. Allow them to show up and show you who they truly are without you constantly trying to mold them and, guide them. Like I remember years ago, an older woman, and I've heard older women say this plenty of times. They said to me and other of my friends, you have to train a man. And that word train never sat right with me. Because I'm like, you train a dog, right? You train a dog, and I don't see men as dogs. I don't see men as animals. I see men as human. I see men as a potential partner. And so when I go out and I date and I'm in relationships, especially now that I am more mature and more aware, I really strive to allow the person I'm with to be himself and let me see who he is, and let me see your habits. Let me see your thought process and your problem solving process. Let me see your character. Let me see your weaknesses, and then, hey Key, how are you, girl? And then take that information and ask myself, does his habits, his thoughts, his decisions, his character traits, does all of that add to my happiness? Sometimes we take that word train so literally. A man walks in our door, walks in our lives, like, oh, you got to change how you dress. Oh, you got to change how you talk. Oh, you can't put the dishes in the dishwasher like that. Let me show you how it needs to be done. And those things are inconsequential things, but it starts there and becomes bigger to where, 3, 6, 9, 12 months down the line, he doesn't recognize who he is, and you don't recognize who he is anymore either, because you molded him, you trained him to be someone that he's not. And it doesn't always happen like that either. It doesn't always happen to where a woman is changing a man, right? Sometimes people, men and women, try to change for other people under the guise of, I want to add to your happiness. I want to make you happy. So I'm going to change how I dress. I'm going to change how I show up. I'm going to change what I do. I'm going to make sure that I get your approval and your permission to do X, Y, and Z. And before you know it, you fall in love with somebody that's not really him. He's showing you what you need to see because he's trying to please you, or she's showing you what you want to see because she's trying to please you. I just saw this episode of Lucifer, and I'm just not watching this on Netflix. I know I'm like a year or two behind, but that's exactly what the characters were doing. This character was portraying Eve, like the first woman, and what she was actually created. The storyline was that she was actually created to be a wife. She was created specifically for Adam. And so she never had her own identity. So everything that she was doing to please Adam, and her own happiness, her own pleasure was not a factor. And so in the show Lucifer, she's trying to hook up with Lucifer because, Lucifer tempted her in the Garden of Eden. So now they're reconnecting, and she's doing the same thing. She's lost herself in the relationship. She's showing up, trying to show him what she thinks he wants to see and be who she thinks he needs to be. And he's not given the chance to see who she really is, and given the opportunity to make a decision. Does this person add to my happiness? Does this person help me grow? Does this person help me be the best version of me? So that's number 5. Allow your partner to be him or to be her. And then number 5 is simply this: move accordingly. That means that once you've gone through these steps and you all right, let's say I lost connection there for a moment. You both are happy with yourselves, and you're happy with your life as individuals. And so now that you come together, you're agreeing to contribute to each other's happiness. You're accepted that no one person can fulfill all of your needs and desires. That's why you reconnected with God and allow God to fulfill your needs, wants, and desires in the best way possible. You're allowing him to show up as he is. And now you're taking the information and you're moving accordingly. That means that if you're in a relationship that you're seeing that cannot be used to add to your happiness, then it's time to move on. But if you're in a relationship where this person is adding to your happiness, yeah, I'll put the steps in the chat. Thanks, Key. When he can add to your happiness, then you can say, okay, let's keep moving forward. Let's keep growing and growing, either until death do us part or until we reach that point and we can no longer grow together. Okay. And so that's what I mean by you can be happy and unfulfilled in a relationship because that one person is not responsible for your total fulfillment. That one person is even responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for your happiness. So when you take this perspective of relationships, that empowers you more. Speaking specifically for women, we tend to lean so far into relationships that we lose ourselves in the person. We lose ourselves in the relationship. We lose ourselves in the hoopla of it all. We lose ourselves in it. And then we lean on that person for our happiness. We lean on that person for our well-being. We lean on this person so much that they become our crutch. Then we get mad when he prioritizes himself and goes to the gym. We get mad when he decides to go out and hang out with his friends on a Friday night and not spend that time with you. We get mad when, I don't know, some other situation comes up and we think that he should be, paying attention to us because I paid all this attention to him. I need him for my happiness. I need him for my money. I need him for my approval. I need him for my affirmation. See, that becomes an unhealthy dependence relationship. And what we really want to create for ourselves is an interdependent relationship where two whole, healthy, happy people come together and we are exchanging in energy. We're exchanging, resources. Like we're in this flow and fluid of things, and not in this whole I'm giving, and you're doing all the receiving and nobody's growing. We're not becoming the better version of ourselves. We're not contributing to the supposed to. And eventually that type of relationship is going to fall apart. And, I asked myself, why do we lean so much into relationships like this? And why do we lean so much into putting so much pressure on someone else to fulfill all of these needs? And I honestly think this is because of a fear of failure or a fear of pain that we seek this perfection. We seek to have all of these things in one person. And that is what causes the pain, ironically. When you try to put all these qualities and all this pressure and all these expectations on one person, knowing that honestly, God is the only one who can fulfill those needs, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for pain. You're setting yourself up for heartbreak. You're setting yourself up for the very thing you're trying to avoid. And that is all being fear driven. And so you have to get to this point of peeling back your own layers and looking at what's driving you to make your list of a relationship, what's driving you to make this list of obligations, what's driving you to make this list of requirement, and what's driving you to put so much pressure on one person to carry the weight of your life. That's what you're doing. You're asking one person to carry the weight of your life. And when you peel back all those layers, what you'll more than likely will find is that is fear driven. And so I want to invite you to come with me next Tuesday. I am teaching a masterclass called Leave Fear Behind. We're going to explore how fear shows up in our lives and how it's holding us back and how it's causing us to settle, or how it's causing us to seek perfection in a way that is detrimental to our own mental, emotional, and spiritual happiness. If you're available next Tuesday, I'm going to put the link down below. I want you to sign up for this masterclass. It's bit.ly/leave fear behind. I'm teaching that class online using Zoom next Tuesday at 7 p.m. So you still have a few days to register, but don't wait till the last minute to get your spot. All right, you guys. So Kia, I haven't forgotten about you. I am going to type the steps in the comments below so that everyone can see them. And if you have any questions or comments about anything I've said here today, leave your question or comment below or send me a DM. And if this video was a blessing to you, please like it, share it, leave me a comment and let me know that you gained something from here or you learned something new, or, even if, tell me if you've heard all this before. I don't know. I just want to know your feedback, and I want to know if the way I'm showing up for you, is this valuable for you? Are you getting some new insight? You can take one tiny step, make one different decision today that could lead you to a better life, a better love, and a better relationship. All right, you guys, again, thank you so much for joining me here tonight. This is my last live for this week, but I will be back next Monday at 9 p.m. All right, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Key. Thank you, Key. I appreciate that. All right, you guys, thank you so much, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.